Hey, I've got a surprise video for you guys. I was not planning on this video. I really didn't hear much about these products until my sales associate at Neiman Marcus texted me and he was like, "Have you seen these? Do you have these?" And I was like, "No, I think I had seen teasers of the eyeshadow picks on Instagram, but I had not seen any teaser pics or anything for the new Shade and Illuminate duos." So let's start with the eyeshadow duos because these are really gorgeous. So here is the packaging for these Soleil Neige eyeshadow quads. And I'm going to guess that they're limited edition because they are part of the Soleil Neige collection. And this packaging is just slightly different. It is silver toned and it has the TF on the cover. And the packaging is white. Same size, same shape. And like I said, there are two eyeshadow quads, at least for now. Who knows if more is going to come out. But first we have one Après Ski, and here is a close-up of the palette. This is, as you can see, the wet dry formula, which is my favorite from Tom Ford. And here are swatches of the four shades. So this is a relatively warm quad, I would say. So that's Après Ski. And then the second quad is called Chalet Lust. And this one is very interesting because they are all very light, ethereal kind of shades. Here are some swatches. These also did not swatch quite as smoothly as the first one. They're beautiful and I think that they look nice, but just when I finger swatched, I had to go in twice where the Après Ski swatches were just, once in the pan. So of course, when I look at this palette, I see maybe one and done shadows if you just want like a frosty lid. I see a palette that can be used with another palette to sort of brighten it up, if you will. Or I see a palette that I would probably use actually wet. With these wet dry formula shadows from Tom Ford, I generally just use them dry because I'm lazy, but also mainly because I like the way they look dry. But I'm definitely going to try these wet for you guys because I think these would look really cool that way. Anyway, we'll play around. And then let me just show you the highlighting duos quickly. So the highlighting duos come in the more standard packaging, at least the coloring, but they've added the TF to the front. But we've got the gold and this like mahogany type brown. And there's three new highlighting duos. So what I wanted to do was at least compare these to the original, which is Mood Light. So here is Mood Light, the original, and here is a swatch of that. I love this duo. The swatches, as you can see, we have a nice highlighter, we have a beautiful like bronze tone, and both products have a really beautiful sheen to them. So I would use the highlighter alone in this palette, and I would use this bronzer kind of as a bronzer topper. To use it like all over as a bronzer, for me, it was a little too shiny. So I used it kind of as a bronze topper, or just a little bit over here if I wasn't going for like a bronze look. And I'm sorry, I do look a little pale right now because I only have some concealer and powder down because I'm going to be swatching this stuff for you. Anyway, so the first one I wanted to show you from the new highlighting duos is Nude Light. And this one I feel like is just a very gold-toned, warm version of Mood Light. And I'm not even sure if I would use this bottom shade as like, well, maybe as a bronze topper, but not as a bronzer by itself because it's too gold. So here are some swatches of that. So you can see it has a really strong golden hint to it. So this is going to be nice for holiday, but again, for me, just my taste, for like kind of everyday use, this is not this is not going to be the one for me. The second one I wanted to show you is Peach Light. This one is gorgeous. And for me personally, and with my skin tone, I would use this as a highlight and a blush or blush topper. Here are some swatches of these two products. Peach Light is a great name for this duo, very peachy. And then lastly, we have Tan Light. And Tan Light is basically a deeper version of Nude Light. We got two products in here, and I think this is incredible for a deeper skin tone, very gold toned, really beautiful finish, just gorgeous. If you liked the original Mood Light, I think you will like these in terms of quality and like the finish and the payoff of the product, all very similar. So I'm really excited for these products. So I'm going to apply as many of these highlighting duos on my face as possible. I'm going to start with, where should I start? Actually, I'm going to start with Tan Light, because Tan Light has this shade at the bottom here, which is closer to a bronzer shade than, like I said, the one in Nude Light, which is just too gold, a little bit too light for me. So I'm going to start with this shade and just add it lightly as like a little bronzer contour situation, just right back here, just so you guys can get a sense of the shade on my skin tone. So I'm grabbing this Surratt cheek brush and just adding it right back here. So there it is. I'm going to turn and see if I can try and catch the light there. This is a little awkward, but it is very glowy, as you can tell by the swatches. But I think for my skin tone, this actually makes for a nice, you can see the difference there, a nice kind of like contour bronzer shade. I'm going to do the same thing over here now. This would even make a nice blush color. You know, if you wanted to do something a little monochromatic and do something like very, very neutral, this would be pretty. All right, so that is the deeper shade and Tan Light applied. And then next I'm gonna move over to Peach Light, and I'm gonna use this bottom shade as a blush. And I'm using my synthetic cheek brush from BK Beauty, because this is one of the few synthetic brushes that works well with these baked gelée products. So I'm just gonna add this to my cheeks here. I mean, you definitely have to like a really glowy situation here on your cheeks. Here, I think you can probably see how glowy this is, but it's really, really beautiful, really beautiful. I love how smooth these products are from Tom Ford. Just gorgeous. So there's the Peach Light. Let me apply this to the other side. All right, so there is Peach Light applied. And as for highlight, I'm gonna go ahead and use this Peach Light highlight on one cheek, and then I'll use the one from Nude Light, the one on top. The one on the bottom for Nude Light, I'm still trying to figure out how I would use. Maybe as eyeshadow, maybe as inner corner highlight or something, but it's so golden and so warm that it's too deep as a highlight for me, and just too like golden yellow as like a bronzer. So maybe lightly dusted as like a topper of some sort, but yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to use that bottom shade. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and use this highlight first. All right, I've got my Sonia G Cheek Pro brush here, and I'm just gonna plop that right on top of my cheekbone. You can see already how shiny this is. And this has such an interesting finish to it, because it's more of a cool toned because of the metallic shift to it. It's not very golden. It's a little bit more on the silvery side. But because it's like kind of like a pinky peach color, it's not totally cool toned. You know what I mean? So I have played with these products already, and you're actually going to see these products again in a vlog that's coming up. But anyway, I love taking my Sonia G Buffer Pro brush and just buffing these products out, because it makes that sheen of the products look really, really glassy. Really, really smooth, really glassy, like just incredible. Really, really incredible. So there is the Peach Light. And now let's go ahead and apply the Nude Light highlighter. I'm just gonna wipe this brush off and apply this. Wow. Such a strong, such a strong highlight. Again, I'm going to take my Buffer Pro here and really buff these in. I mean, super glossy, super, super glossy. So you can see that like golden tinge to it. And then for the Peach Light, you can see how it's like a cooler sort of reflection there. So those are the highlighting duos. And if you have a similar skin tone to me, I would definitely opt for the Peach Light, because I think you can use both of the shades in here. If you're a little bit more creative than me, I'm sure you can find uses for this top product here, but this one in Tan Light is a great kind of like bronzer contour shade. And then the Nude Light, this one is just kind of, at least for me, again, if you're more creative than I am, I'm sure you can look at this and see what you can do with it. But yeah, I'm having like a little bit of a difficulty like figuring out where I would use this particular product. But the quality of all three of these highlighting duos, just like the original Mood Light, and I love them. So smooth, so beautiful. Like, wow. Wow. Okay, let's move on to the eyeshadows. So I'm gonna start with the Après Ski eyeshadow. I am gonna go into this shade up here, the one on the top right. And I've got my Rephr number 15 brush. It's just a blender brush. And I'm gonna go in and apply this to the center of my lid here. And I'm gonna do one eye with one quad. Usually I like to do both eyes. I feel like that gives me like the best sense of the eyeshadow quad, but I apologize. I'm a little pressed for time this morning. It's really early. It's really early because I have a busy day ahead of me and I just wanted to film this. So it's about 5:30 in the morning and I already feel like I'm running late. So anyway, here is that first shade apply to the lid. Really beautiful. This palette, just like the Tom Ford wet dry formulas that we love, like New Dip, Honeymoon, all of those. I feel like some of the more recent ones, there have been some here, some there, not so great, some a little bit harder, some not quite as pigmented. But this one, it's just like the ones that we love. Okay, now I'm gonna take this deepest shade over here and add that to the outer corner here. There. I'm going to take a flat shader, go into the lightest shade here, and add that to the inner corner, and just brighten it up a little bit. It's not a super bright highlighting shade, but it is a little bit lighter than the other shades in the quad. So there are those three shades laid down. Let me just go ahead and go into this shade just so you can see it. This is the warmest shade out of the bunch. It is like a terracotta shade, which is very, very beautiful. Where should where should I put it down? Let me just put it down right on top here. I think you guys will be able to see it. Yeah, do you see the warmth it's adding? That is that shade. But aren't those shades so pretty? God, I love, love, love this formula. I don't think I'll ever get sick of this formula. This formula's been around forever, right? And I feel like every time a new palette with this formula comes out, I am just as excited as the time before. They're just so beautiful. When they work well, they're so beautiful. Okay, so that's the Après Ski. And then this Chalet Lust, let's see, how should we do this? I do want to try these wet for sure, but let's see what these look like on the lid dry first. I'm just going to go ahead and use this one down here. It's like, it has a slight, very cool, like lilac kind of like hint to it. When I swatched these shades, finger swatched them, they definitely felt a little bit more crumbly, chunky than the Après Ski. And that's when I thought, you know what? I bet these are better worked wet. Yeah, so these are just like topper shades. It's hard to see this these shades on my skin tone because they're so pale. All right, let's just go ahead and wet some of these up. So I've got my Chantecaille Rose Water spray. I'm going to use that. You can, of course, use like water if you want. You don't need to use like a facial mist or anything. And I'm going to grab a number 2 brush from Rephr. This is like a denser like shader brush. I'm going to go into this top shade here, which has just the slightest. It's so strange. They look a little bit different in like every light and every angle, but I feel like this one has a little bit of like a pinky peach tone to it. Oh yeah, wow. It's like Quicksilver. Ooh, gorgeous. Okay, I really want to try that in this like taupey shade, of course. the taupey shade. So I'm gonna wet my brush again. Maybe I should find a different brush. Let's see. Yeah, I have another clean Refer number 2 brush here. These have, as you can probably tell, these shades also, it's probably why they feel a little bit grittier when I finger swatch them, but they have like a little bit more micro glitter going on. Not even sure if you can tell like the shade difference, excuse me, the shade difference underneath this lighting here. But yeah, it's like I can see like a little bit of a shade difference between here and here on my lids. But they're so like frosty looking, it's really hard to tell. You know what? Let me do some wet swatches of all 4 of these shadows. I think then you'll be able to see like the difference in the shades and stuff. Okay, here are the 4 swatches. I just went in clockwise direction. So we have the top left, then we have the top right, the bottom right, and then the bottom left, which is the one with a little bit of lilac in there. So I'd say when it comes to this quad, I would either use it as a topper to other shades. Of course, if you like just a really light kind of ethereal look, this is a palette for you. Or I would use these shadows wet if you want like a little bit more impact. And again, use it with like another palette or whatever if you just want to like brighten it up or something. But I just find this particular palette to be, it's just very, very beautiful. It's very ethereal. I don't know if it's because it's in the white packaging and I think of Soleil Neige and like snowflakes and all of that. I just feel like this is just such a pretty, pretty quad. The Après Ski, this is definitely more of the crowd pleaser because it's a little bit more of a traditional kind of color story. And I think what I like most about this particular quad and this color story is that, yes, it's a little bit warm, and I have been loving more neutral, cool leaning tones lately. But even though this one is a little bit warm, it's not like overly orangey, and it doesn't stray from what I see in the pan, which I think is the most important for me. I don't like when I feel like the shade like changes or oxidizes on my lids or does anything strange. I do feel like what I see in the pan is what I get on my eyelid. So that is Après Ski. And one last thing I forgot to mention, they did also come out with a lip blush. So it does come in this silver packaging, which is different from the gold packaging, which they came out with previously. I have that here. And here's a close look at the lip blush in case you don't remember. But this is like that clear color changing lipstick, and it has little flakes in there. So in this version, there are silver flakes in there. In the previous version, there were gold flakes. If you guys don't remember, here's the old one. So I did a swatch of the new one. So you can see it changes to kind of this really fun, bright pink. And I will say it's not as fun as Poppy King's. Hers has like a funkier finish to it. But anyway, I digress. And then I did swatch the gold lip blush on top because my sales associate at Neiman Marcus was not sure if these were actually the same and just different colors. He's like, I do know that the formulation will be at least a little bit different because in the gold one, those were 24 karat flakes in there. He said, I don't think those are gold flakes in there. Anyway, I wanted to swatch the two together, and the gold one is lighter. I don't know if it's because it's older, but that's the one that's on top. And the swatch on the bottom is the current silver one. So I just wanted to put on the silver one, even though I think it works great with the Chalet Lust eyeshadow quad, but I don't think this works great with the Après Ski because this is a pretty cool tone pink. But let me go ahead and apply it. The formula is incredibly balmy. It feels great on the lips. It almost kind of starts to melt down and almost feel like a lip oil. Yeah, and it feels really, really great. And again, I feel like this would look great with the Chalet Lust, but it looks a little off with this eyeshadow quad. I am actually going to finish up my eye look here. I'm just going to curl my lashes and add some mascara. Ugh, I just got a huge clump on my eyelid. Okay, we'll wait for that to dry. I'm going to go ahead and add some eyeliner too. So I've got the Tom Ford Emotion Proof eyeliner in Abyssinian 03. It's like just a dark brown. I'm gonna go ahead and tight line. Oh, I do see a little bit of fallout from this eyeshadow quad, just FYI. I just brushed a little bit away on my cheek. All right, so there you have it. As I'm sure you could tell, I really, really love these new products from Tom Ford. I'm so excited because I was so Disappointed in this release, this Raw Desire face palette. If you guys did not see that review, that went up, I think, sometime last week. But anyway, this is a baked product, but this baked formula is not good. It's not good. It's very thick and heavy. But this baked formula from Tom Ford, this is what we like to see. This is beautiful, ethereal, easy to work with, gorgeous finish, blends beautifully. I mean, all the things. And then the highlighting duos, I mean, these are just so much fun. And just, wow, just really, really intense shine, which I think is perfect for the holiday season. So like I said, I did purchase these products in store at Neiman Marcus, but I have not seen these products online yet. So once I do, I will definitely keep my description box down below updated. I will also post something to my community tab. As you guys know, I like to post like new releases there. And I will definitely post something to my Instagram stories as well. So definitely follow me over there if you haven't already. And that's it. That is it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.